This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now. Here's VOCM Open Line host Patty Daly.
Well, all right. Linda Swain in for Patty Daly this morning. A bit bleary-eyed, I must say, after spending a day Christmas shopping yesterday. I picked a good day for it. Not a lot, a huge number of people on the go. I got on the go early and, knocked a few things off the old list, but not feeling overly Christmassy just yet. Not me, anyway. I suppose maybe now the weekend I'll find some time to put the tree up and that sort of thing, but not kind of feeling it just yet. You know when I will feel it, Dave? When those first snowflakes start flying. And I know the snowflakes have been flying in numerous areas of the province, but here in the St. John's area, it's been a bit slow thus far. And I know there's people out there going, "No, she said snow, no." Don't say that, because nobody wants to see snow. But you know what? We live in a northern climate. And guess what? The lack of snow that we had last year was arguably one of the direct reasons why we suffered so much in the way of drought this past summer. We had a couple of things coming together at the same time. I understand that. But the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of snowpack to keep things moist didn't help things at all. And I'll get into that now in a moment. Just trying to get my bearings here this morning, so don't mind me. I always give priority, of course, to our callers. So anything that I raise, you can choose to ignore, or you can choose to explore. It's all up to you. That's why we call it Open Line. So anything that's on your mind, pick up the phone, dial the numbers, give us a call. Premier Tony Wakeham is in Ottawa, or has been in Ottawa the last couple of days, meeting with the Prime Minister to discuss a number of projects of importance to the province. And you know that certain things will no doubt have come to the fore there, the MOU, for instance, and Bay du Nord. But according to Prime Minister Mark Carney, among the items on the agenda were what he calls opportunities to restructure, in a positive way, as he puts it, the forest products sector. And that piqued my interest. I wanted to hear more about that. Last summer, Kruger, of course, laid out a $700 million plan to revitalize and secure Corner Brook Pulp and Paper to create what it calls a highly innovative and upgrades to manufacturing complex. They want to modernize the mill, add a pulp storage facility, upgrade site infrastructure. We haven't heard anything substantial on that since that time. Sorry about that. Do Mark Carney's comments suggest that the federal government is willing to help out with that? We're hoping to hear from perhaps the Premier himself or the MHA for the region, Mr. Jim Parsons, about that, and see exactly what that little tidbit might mean. In the meantime, Corner Brook Pulp and Paper, of course, had to halt production due to extremely low water levels at the hydro facility in Deer Lake. After what was an alarmingly dry summer, we've had a pretty consistent rainfall and some snowfall in some areas, of course, across the island since November came in. And by all accounts, water levels on massive bodies of water like Grand Lake and Beothic Lake are rising. So it will be interesting to see if that's starting to make a difference. Now, people in the region tell me that, Grand Lake, for instance, which feeds into that whole Humber system, once water levels rise there, then they'll open the floodgates at Deer Lake Pulp and Paper, or the hydro facility there, and then the water levels will come down again. So there's a balance that has to be had there. So that will be interesting to see what happens, and I'd like to get an update on that. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro, of course, had to turn to alternate power sources earlier this year due to the drought we had this spring and summer and early fall, and I'm wondering if things are now starting to return to normal. You may recall, oh my gosh, how long ago was it, Dave? 2000... It was under the Danny Williams administration anyway, a very long time ago, where this whole, the argument for Muskrat Falls started to be made that we had to move off of one of the highest, the biggest polluters in the country, and that was the Holyrood Generating Plant. Now, a lot of changes have been made since that time, but it is interesting that these many years later, 25 years later, we're still having to rely on the Holyrood Generating Plant to get us by. And hydro is great when the water is there. So this is where concerns about changes in climate and some of these ups and downs and very dramatic changes in weather are going to have an impact. If you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. Well, very sad news, of course, on the passing of Colleen Jones. My goodness, what a bubbly and engaging personality she had, on top of being one of the country's very best curlers. A lot of people looked up to Colleen Jones and what she was able to achieve in the curling community, and really helping to solidify curling as one of Canada's major sports. And Canada is, of course, diminished by her loss. Very sad indeed. If you want to share any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. A return to the Winter Olympics, another sad turn in curling. A return to the Winter Olympics in Italy was not to be for the Guju rink this week. A heartbreaking loss for Team Guju at the Olympic qualifiers in Halifax. Guju lost to Brad Jacobs 6-3. So the triumphant return, I suppose, to Italy for another Olympic Games, not in the cards. But my goodness, remember when the Guju rink was lined up to win gold in Turin when they were playing the gold medal game, and there were people who got off work early. I remember even here we got off work early to take in the game. It was declared, what was it, an official holiday here in Newfoundland and Labrador under the Premier at the time, Danny Williams. Schools closed, businesses sent people home early. That was a different time, and I remember it so well. A friend of mine was in labor at the time. And I remember she telling me that here she was in the thick of it, and they had the game on somewhere in the environs, and all she could hear while she was bringing new life into the world was, "Hurry! Hurry hard!" So that's a story that will always stay with me through that period. Education Minister Paul Dinn met with Memorial University mere minutes after being sworn in to the position of Education Minister as his and finally MHA this week. Now the Canadian Federation of Students is hoping to bend its ear, and Memorial University, of course, going through an extremely transitional time, more so now arguably than ever before in its history, as it moves towards greater autonomy and has to make some pretty serious decisions. And Memorial University historically, I think, was among one of the highest subsidized universities in the province. That changed, of course, in recent years. And now the university is feeling the pinch. It is an interesting time, and for many people in Newfoundland and Labrador who enjoyed those heady days when tuition for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians was free and benefited greatly. It helped to develop this province in dramatic ways. And then, of course, with tuition freezes that have been part of the norm for ever so long. Now tuition rates are increasing. And it's causing problems, of course, for a lot of people, and especially young people these days. I know it's hard to wrap your head around what young people these days are going through, especially if you grew up at a different time. But it is the pressures, the economic pressures that they're facing are unlike anything that most young people previous to this had been facing. So I'd like to hear what anybody has to say about that. Enough of me for the time being. We're going to open up the lines, give you an opportunity to give us a call. If there's anything on your mind, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Here are the numbers to call. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. Linda Swain sitting in for Patty Daly, who is off today. We're going to start the show this morning, of course, on... Wait now. This one. Line 1. Hello.
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 This is Danny.
Hi, Danny. How you doing?
Not too bad. The White Rose South platform is out in Grand Banks now, right, with the modules on it, right?
Okay.
Okay. What would happen to the ship pumping oil for White Rose South?
What do you mean?
Well, they got a ship out there now, it's PCO, whatever you call it, and she's pumping oil out of the Grand Banks. And what would happen when the new platform goes out there? What would happen to that ship?
I'm not sure.
Is it going to be moved, or is it going to be staying there?
I can't answer that question because I don't know.
Don't know.
Well, we'll put it out to the audience. Maybe somebody does know.
I'm going to ask you something else. The turnovers, they should be looking at a platform for that, but is it in deeper waters?
Are you talking about Beta Nord?
No, turnover.
Terra Nova?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The offshore is an area that I'm familiar with in a general sense, not in a specific sense.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's 20 years old and have been down foreign countries get fixed up. I think they sent Newfoundlanders down there to fix it. Then it came out to Boulogne to be fixed. Newfoundlanders on it.
Okay.
So I think it's time to replace to a platform, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, all of these things have to undergo refit and changes and all the like. And I know that the Terra Nova platform just underwent those kinds of changes. But you're talking about the subsea structure, are you?
Platform.
Oh, Hibernia, maybe?
No, the turnover.
Okay, that's it's a floating production facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's 20 years old, and they're replacing the White Rose South, and with a platform now, right?
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this conversation. I don't have all of that ready information on the tips of my fingers like Patty often does.
Okay. That's it.
Well, you've raised it publicly, so if anybody is aware and knows and has answers for you, keep listening. Someone will give us a call.
Like, the turnover is like 20 years old. It's been down South Korea to be worked on, to refit, to keep on drilling, pumping oil. And she came out to Bull Arm, to be refitted again, and then she's 20 years old and that, and
But that was supposed to extend its life for an extended period.
How much oil is out there for the turnover?
Again, I don't have that information readily available to me. I can find out.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of oil out there, trust me.
Yeah, it is. How about the natural gas?
And there's lots of natural gas. Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will that be pumped off with the oil rig?
Well, again, we haven't really explored that whole LNG aspect of things, and this is one of the mandates, I would argue, for our new premier. It's one of the mandates for the federal government for certain. They've been talking a lot about development of LNG.
Yeah. There's another thing I got to talk to you about. Beta North, top size. Are we going to get that contract to build it here in Newfoundland?
Well, the Premier certainly hopes so, but as of right now, that doesn't seem to be the way in which Equinor is going. It looks like it's going to be built overseas.
Yeah. So is that looking good for Newfoundlanders to get work, eh?
Well, again, they're trying to find economically feasible ways to explore that very challenging project. I mean, it's quite a distance from the mainland, and it's at a significant depth. One of the deepest, I think.
Pardon me?
It's in one of the deepest areas that's being explored.
So a platform wouldn't go there, would it?
So there's a lot that has to, and that you have to do tie-ins and to get people out there onto the drilling platform, you'd have to set up midway platforms for helicopters to bring there so they can, fuel up and go on. That was part of the understanding that I had many years ago when they were first talking about it. So, there's a lot of challenges in exploring that or drilling that area, but it is obviously quite lucrative. There are huge amounts of oil there, but so the company has to find economically feasible ways to extract that oil, and this is one of the things that's been talking about building the top sites elsewhere, arguably because they believe it'd be too pricey here.
Yeah, but that's a lot of work in the resources.
What's that?
Like that modular hotel downtown?
Yes.
We could have built modules here in Newfoundland.
Yeah, I don't know how it works now for those types of engineering projects, but I take your I take the gist of your meaning there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. You have a nice day. Have a great day.
All right. You too.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Danny there, always thinking, always asking questions, and he stumps me from time to time. He calls our newsroom on a fairly frequent basis to, ask questions about, he's always thinking about certain things, and it is... he often stumps me, I will say that. Especially this morning, when I got a call this morning from my boss saying, you're doing open line this morning. So if I sound not fully prepared, I'm sorry about that. We're going to go now to a bit of good news after what has been a very challenging year. My understanding is that the Red Ochre Cafe in Ocrapick Cove is reopening. Tracy Shute, you're on the air. Hello. Oh, we lost her. What happened there? All right, Dave, we'll get her back. But yeah, I was one of a group of reporters that was among the first to enter the portion of the Conception Bay North Shore from Western Bay northward into Northern Bay, when the public was finally allowed back in there. And I have to say, it was all bad enough to see the kind of devastation in places like Kingston, the Small Point, and Broad Cove, Adams Cove. But once you pass that weird transition into Western Bay and Ocrapitt Cove, you could really see where the fire did its worst. But a little bit of good news now. Tracy, you're on the air.
Good morning, Linda. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
The fact that you're a little bit underprepared, you and I kind of match up this morning.
There you go.
We're hitting the ground running today, but we do have 10 flavors of cheesecake for opening day.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So how did you manage to get this done? Because I know it was a little bit of a hub during the whole transition and cleanup and firefighting effort and that sort of thing. Tell us how you got here.
Well, we closed 16 weeks today, 16 weeks ago today. It's hard to believe that much time has passed. 116 days, not that we were counting. But it has been pretty much uphill all the way. I mean, obviously we were happy that the cafe was left standing, but the I guess unnecessary back and forth between the insurance adjusters and contractors and the like really set us back. And without going into too many negative details here this morning, because it is a positive day, but I think it's important for people to understand that, yes, we were insured, but boy, did we have to fight for what we had. It was really difficult. One example, everybody on the North Shore threw out their fridges and freezers when we were told that we could go back, obviously because, everything sat in almost 3 weeks of 30-degree heat and no power. So you can just imagine the mess that we faced. However, with the cafe, they decided they weren't going to throw out our fridges and freezers. They were going to try and clean them. Well, obviously, we wouldn't settle for that. So we can assure your listeners and our customers that the equipment has all been replaced. We are, shiny brand new where we need to be. We've got new flooring. We've painted. We're ready. And, it's been a lot of elbow grease. 3 weeks ago, we finally kind of took the cafe back from the insurance and said, you know what, we're going to do this, and we'll talk to you about the bill afterwards. So, because there was no sign. There was no sign of the repairs being finished, and we knew that, Christmas was coming, and if we were going to save this business, we had to take matters into our own hands and get it open. And so with a couple of local contractors and our very hardworking and dedicated staff who worked, oh my God, so hard. But anyway, here we are, and we are opening today.
Cleaning your fridges and freezers?
Yeah. Yeah.
That might sound fine to some people, but having traveled through that area, weeks and weeks and weeks of rotting food.
Yeah.
In those.
And actually, what happened was that they actually took about 2 weeks and attempted to clean them, and then threw them out. So those are the kinds of delays that we faced. Like, did we need, could we have opened in a couple of weeks after we were let back in? Absolutely not. But did we need to be closed 16 weeks? Definitely not.
Gotcha. So that sort of delayed the process.
It would have been another number of weeks had we not kind of taken it back in our own hands.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who hasn't been in that kind of situation can appreciate just how horrific and daunting that kind of, I know some people were put in the position of having to try to clean their fridges and freezers, and I don't know, how many of them ended up having to keep them because they didn't have insurance or whatever the case may be.
None that I know of.
But I can't see it. I can't see it. Having passed through that area, you could smell where the freezers were before you, topped a ridge. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, that's just one example of many that we dealt with in terms of we're going to fix it. No, we're going to replace it. No, we're going to fix it. Anyway, at the end of the day, what needed to be replaced has been replaced. And so we're shiny brand new. We've had a full health inspection, and the staff have worked hard, as they always do. And we're ready. We're pretty excited.
That is great news. I want to circle back just for a moment. I know you didn't want to make this too negative, but I will ask you this. Any lessons learned about the insurance process and what you could have done differently or what you should have done differently had you known the difference?
Yeah, maybe 4 weeks into the process, we would have taken it ourselves. But we just never dreamed that every single piece of what we were doing was going to be a fight. And we did fight. But yeah, no, we wouldn't have trusted the process as long as we did, knowing eventually, that we would have to take the process over ourselves. It was really difficult. And in all of that, we had 10 employees out of work, and that, that's the stuff that keeps you up at night, right? Like that weighed heavy on us because they're great staff, and it was very important for us to get them to work.
In a province full of pretty places, Ocrapitt Cove is arguably one of the prettiest. What's it like there now?
Well, there's signs of hope everywhere. I'm going to choose the positive this morning, despite the insurance. But there's signs of hope everywhere. I drove down last night. There's people. It's hard not to get emotional, but there's people who have their Christmas trees up. Some folks have their Christmas lights out. A lot of times in the last 16 weeks, we've heard North Shore strong, and boy, are we ever. They're resilient. I mean, there was one gentleman who lost his house completely. He's moving in on Saturday with a complete new rebuild. There's a number of houses under construction, a number of other basements that have been dug out, so we know they're building back. Every time you see an excavator now, we're excited because we know that's somebody else who's coming home. So it's, is there a lot of devastation still? Yes, there's lots of people still not home. By the way, we're those people. I'm renting a house in Harbour Grace because our home is not yet fit to go back to, even though we didn't lose it. So, there's still a lot of fight ahead, but I feel like we've won this battle, and we're just really hoping that we're busy on the weekend. We'll see some of our customers who've been so encouraging to us, and our staff will be there today with bells on, and they're pretty happy about it, and we are too.
I know one of the things that, and I heard this repeated so many times, that, the landscape will bounce back. It takes a lot longer for, people to try to put their lives back together. But it was hopeful when I passed through the area not too long ago to see that area that was first affected in Adams Cove and the grass starting to grow back and everything.
Yeah.
Is the landscape starting to recover a little bit?
It is starting to bounce back a little. Obviously, we're not going to see much grass growth now because of the change in the weather. But, a lot of the debris being cleaned up is certainly helpful. It's not lost on us that there's tremendous loss as well. I mean, we have neighbors who lost everything. Our school is gone. The post office is gone. The local garage is gone. There's a lot of loss, and it's not lost on us that there is devastation all around us, and the cafe opening doesn't fix all that. But we're hoping that this is going to be a little ray of hope for some people, a little bit of normalcy. And because the cafe became kind of a hub and a gathering place for the North Shore and from people from outside the area who wanted to visit. And so, we hope today that we're giving back that little bit of normalcy to the area and ability for us to, to be there for people again. And we're happy about that. But yeah, there's lots of work to be done, and we'll certainly help our friends and neighbors, in any way we can.
So what are some of the priorities for the region now moving forward?
Well, there's a lot of certainly lessons to be learned from the fire. I think one of the major priorities, obviously, is the rebuild of the communities and to get all that sorted. The Red Cross is taking up space in the area, and and they're reaching out to people, is my understanding, to do needs assessments for, what people will need to recover on an individual basis, because it's not just a blanket approach. So I think that's in good hands. There are people who need small things like, a panel of siding replaced, or, they've lost their wood for the winter, so they need to figure that out. And some people didn't have insurance, and Linda, was through no fault of their own. There's houses down there that were built on, stone platforms or brick walls or whatever, or not brick walls, sorry, stone walls, like a stone foundation. And so for that reason, they couldn't get insurance, and they couldn't afford to replace the foundation. So it's not all about, we just didn't bother to get insurance. Some of it was very legitimate cause that they couldn't do it. There's those people that, and they don't need $1 million to get back on their feet. They need small items. We have friends of ours who, lost their shed. They didn't lose their house. They need some windows. They need some wood. That kind of stuff is getting kind of looked after behind the scenes, because we have good people in our community. So there's a lot of good stories. Some of them won't be public, and that's fine too. But people are helping people, and that's what we do.
Are people or planning to rebuild in the same spot, or are some of them saying, I just can't? We certainly haven't spoken to everybody, but, we're hearing lots of good stories. There's lots of people rebuilding. Last count, there was about 16 homes under construction and another half a dozen basements that have been dug out, which is all good signs, knowing, of course, that, the construction season is, coming to a close pretty soon, I would think, in terms of what they can do before the snow flies. But there's lots of signs. There's lots of signs of hope for the area, for sure. And Christmas is coming. It's going to be a different Christmas for an awful lot of people, but hopefully the fact that your cafe has reopened will, help people with a little bit of normalcy, as you said.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for us as a family, we don't know where Christmas is going to be yet. If we're putting a tree up in Harbour Grace or Oakwood Cove, because our home has not been completed either. So, there's all of that. And, when people say there's no place like home, it's an understatement for sure. I mean, we have a lovely rental in Harbour Grace, but it's not home. And, there's something to be said for being home. So there's the added stress of all of that, and there's a lot of people in that boat. So we try to keep a check on our friends and neighbors that have been displaced, and get an update on their progress, and try as best we can to look after each other.
Well, Tracy, all the best to you. So happy to hear that your business, the Red Ochre Cafe, is reopening. That's a very positive, bright light in what has been a very difficult and trying time. Really appreciate this, and Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you, Linda. Take care, and thanks for your interest.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's Tracy Shute, owner of the Red Ochre Cafe, reopened now after the fires in the Conception Bay, on the Conception Bay North Shore, even though she is still living in Harbour Grace for the time being. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the Mayor of Torbay, Craig Scott, coming up right after this. We are going now to the town of Torbay to speak with Mayor Craig Scott. Hello, Craig.
Hey, Linda, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I think I'm okay.
That's good to hear. I think we've had an awful lot of rain since November came in. That's got to be good news for the town.
We have. It's brought the levels up in our ponds somewhat to stabilize them, but it's been a very stressful summer and fall, I can tell you that, looking at the levels of the pond where they've been, and coming into the winter and hoping that it's going to get higher before we get that winter freeze, but it hasn't got as high as we need. So we do have a plan in place that we're going to pump water from a nearby pond into North Pond. We're sourcing all the material we need now to be able to do that, and hopefully we're going to get that started sooner than later.
So what happens if, for whatever reason, those levels don't come up before we get a deep freeze?
Well, the possibility of the water supply losing the ability to supply water to the town, and we didn't even want to think about the ramifications of that. There's 3 schools and a couple of old age homes, and about a third of the town are under water supply. So it would be, it would be catastrophic, I guess, would be one word to describe it. But the levels have come up a good bit in the last month. And this pumping option should be the solution that we need for now to get us through this winter. And then hopefully over this winter we'll get some snow and more of regular type of precipitation that we normally get, and we'll be good next year.
It's amazing.
But also, yeah.
It's amazing what a change in pattern, in weather pattern, can do.
It is, and last winter we didn't have much snow, so we didn't have a lot of spring runoff. The pond was low starting off, and then of course we hardly had any rain. We were in a drought situation, and the pond just kept getting lower and lower. And I guess around we identified this early in June. We put water restrictions on, and in July we went to full out ban on certain things, but the pond continued to go down maybe an inch a day, to the point where we're only a couple of feet above the intake pipe, which that's a pretty nervous situation for everybody trying to deal with it. So I commend our staff and our residents, actually, who've really paid attention to our water ban that we had on during the summer, reduced consumption, and got us through that part. One thing that I would mention is when we first started looking at doing this pumping, we were going to pump from a nearby river. And of course, as has been well reported, we have issues here in the town with PFAS contamination from the airport in a lot of private wells. And so we obviously, before we go to pump, we tested for that. And we found very low levels of PFAS contaminants actually in the river. And so we put that out in notification to people when we were going to do our pumping. And not knowing if this is going to be a yearly thing, I think our best option that we chose was to pump from that pond, which we also had tested and had no PFAS in it. Because if we had to do this again next year, we'll have the infrastructure to be able to do that, and we'll be able to act more quickly. But, it was, we contacted Transport Canada and the MP and our MHA to advise them that we found PFAS contaminants in the river. 3.1 nanograms per litre. It's well below the 30 of Health Canada guidelines, but it's still concerning, and it's concerning for people. So we wanted to make sure that they were aware that we found that there.
Well, any level is a concern. These are forever chemicals, after all. How low did North Pond get, and how much does it need to come up before you're feeling a little more comfortable?
I think it was 8 feet at least below our normal level. And that was in late September when we put a video out from the town, and it has come up. It's probably come up maybe a couple of feet, but it's touch and go with not knowing how much precipitation we're going to get during the winter. So this option to run that pipe, and I think it's about 2,500 meters that we got to run and pump. And I'm not sure how long we're going to do it. We're probably going to be pumping 24 hours a day for, I don't know how long. We'll see how much the pump produces, but it'll probably be a week for sure, I'd say.
And what's the other pond that you're taking this from?
It would be Whiteways Pond. It's visible from the bypass road. It's a pond that's it's really clean, and it's the place where our residents swim in the summertime. So we're not overly concerned that we're going to draw down too much on that. We've been working with Water Resources and DFO and whoever else we need to work with when we're dealing with pumping from an alternate source into our water supply to make sure that everything is safe and what we're doing is correct, because when you want to pump water into an existing water source, North Pond, which is our water supply that we know is, we've had that tested and it doesn't have any PFAS in it, which is really good for us. And we want to make sure that we're not doing anything to affect that pond or the water source that we're going to be pumping from.
So if Whiteways Pond becomes a permanent alternative, I guess, or a fail-safe, will people still be able to swim there in the summer?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be – this is a temporary measure. We already are in the process of developing a new water supply in Torbay anyway at Great Pond. That's going to be a few years before that's online and supplying water to the town. But we are moving forward with that, and hopefully that'll address our greater issue of capacity that we've already been dealing with. But one thing I want to make sure that people understand, this issue with the water supply, with North Pond, with pumping, is different than the issue that we're dealing with people's private wells with PFAS in it. Those ones are, the federal government is responsible for that. They've been working on it. And, we've been lobbying and in touch with them constantly. Every time we find out about a new area in the town where this PFAS is being detected in people's wells, we let them know, and we're asking them to make sure that they're treating all the residents equal who have found these contaminants in their well. If they're providing drinking water or whatever they're doing or doing testing, they need to make sure they do it for everybody equally and not different places. So this is an issue that I think that we're going to be dealing with for a few years, and hopefully that they're going to come with some solution, and that's that's what we've been advocating for those residents to have their wells tested and make sure, give them some peace of mind. There's a lot of people I talk to all the time that have these contaminants in their wells, and it's a very scary situation. And it's not something that they did, it's not something that the town did, but it's as a result of that firefighting training center at the airport, and that is fully within the federal government's purview, and they take a responsibility for it, and they need to follow through on what it is that they're going to do to make those residents right, make their wells correct, and make sure that they have safe and clean drinking water going into their homes.
So what's the latest on that in terms of a permanent solution? Are you being kept in the loop in that regard?
We're kept in the loop to a certain extent. We hear a lot from residents. Transport Canada shares information with us as much as they can. They don't let us know exactly who has tested or anything like that. They give us generalities and numbers in this area, that area. And as far as we know, that they're piloting some filtration systems in some houses that they've tested. They have been providing drinking water to residents who have tested above 30. I think they should be providing drinking water to all those residents that they tested, even if it is below 30, because those levels fluctuate. You could be at 25 one day and test 2 days later and be above 30, and which is what some people have been seeing in their testing results. And I think that the federal government should be providing all those residents with drinking water while they are doing this testing and coming up with these solutions. And I think the ultimate solution at the end of the day is to have municipal pipe water for those houses that are currently on wells with contaminants in it. But at this point in time, the town doesn't have capacity to be able to provide that. But we will once our new water supply is brought on. And then again, it's the federal government's responsibility, I believe, to bring that water to those homes.
Craig Scott, thanks very much for those two important updates, and hopefully you get that work done with Whiteways Pond before the deep freeze sets in. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's the Mayor of Torbay, Craig Scott. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we are going now to Bill. You're on the air. Hello, Bill.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Not bad yourself.
Oh, very good.
Kudos to that Craig Scott, Mayor of Torbay.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds so legitimate. He really seems like he's really trying.
As a lot of municipal leaders are these days.
You wish. But yeah, so I'm just calling. I wanted to congratulate the new premier and our local member for the political change on the island. But as you're commenting, a lot of municipal leaders, I don't think we'll see eye to eye on that one. He just impressed me. He's really trying. That was a good conversation. I enjoyed it, Linda.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. So, yes, you're offering your congratulations to the Premier. We're in this weird transitional phase here now where we're trying to get, I guess they're, trying to get their feet under them and get the lay of the land and that sort of thing. Are you hopeful about the future?
Yes, but our island, I'm really worried about, and I'm nowhere handy to our island right now. I'm genuinely worried about our island, and that hopefully somebody wakes up and sees that there's a national and international trend happening, and to see what the people really, really want. But so there's a thing in Newfoundland where there's sometimes it gets stuck, right? What's your opinion?
I would offer you one if I knew what you were talking about.
No, well, the political change is happening nationally and internationally as well now, and the little shift back home was very interesting. And I'm from a little tiny town called Long Harbour, Newfoundland, and was heavily involved in municipal politics for a while until it absolutely just broke me soul. But there's by the way, Long Harbour, Newfoundland, the highest budget per capita in the nation, and you try to make a little difference there. Our little island, I'm trying to offer a little bit of a voice to our little island, is start being more transparent and challenge your local politicians.
All right, fair enough, Bill. We're up to news time now, but I appreciate your call.
All right, fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. So, Premier Tony Wakeham delivered his State of the Province address to the Board of Trade this week and indicated that the fiscal situation is a little more challenging, perhaps, than some might have thought. His quote, "I can tell you, based on my early briefings, there is reason to believe that even that number doesn't reflect the true depth of our provincial deficit." He's talking about the doubling of the deficit from 372 projected during last year's budget to 626 million when former Finance Minister Siobhan Cody delivered her State of the Province address a fiscal update in August, just before the election was called. And at the time, she blamed poor exchange rates for the doubling of those figures. We will get an update from the newly minted Finance Minister, Craig Party, in the coming weeks, sometime in December, arguably earlier rather than later, for obvious reasons. But it will be interesting to see what approach this government takes to handling that. The Premier has already said quite categorically that he will not be placing the fiscal burden on on taxpayers, nor will he be making dramatic cuts. So the question is, how do you address that? And I guess we'll start to get a clearer picture of that in the weeks and months ahead. We are going to go now to Chris. You're on the air. Hello, Chris.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm just calling because I found a beagle in the Middle Gull Pond area yesterday, and so I'm just hoping we can locate its owner.
Okay. What can you tell us about this beagle?
Well, it's definitely female. It seems to be young. Yeah, I guess there's not like black fur on the back, and then like brown on his head, or her head rather, and a little bit like white fur on their neck. I did text a picture to the number that the guy just told me I could do that, so he said he would post it to the Twitter page. Okay, great.
Is she wearing a collar or anything?
No, she wasn't wearing a collar, but we do have her like safe in our home there right now, and so we do have another dog here though that they're getting along for now. So we're hoping that we can find the owner sooner rather than later.
Certainly, yeah. And did she appear to be out in the elements very long?
Yeah, so actually, I saw her yesterday morning on my way out, and then she ran away when I tried to approach her. And then about 6 hours later, my partner saw her again in the same area, and then she managed to lure her into the car around like 7 o'clock last night.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you made a little effort there. That's great. So that was in the Middle Gull Pond area. Female beagle, appears to be young, and you'd like to reunite her with her owner.
Yep. And so like I said, my name's Chris, and we shared it in all of the missing pets groups on Facebook and stuff, and like the British Junction group on Facebook. So if anyone's looking to get in touch, if they take a look at any of those groups, so I'm sure they'll see it. But I also gave my number to the gentleman I was just speaking to.
Yeah, Dave's got your number, so that's great. So if anybody's listening to this and is missing their female beagle in the Middle Gull Pond area, Brigus Junction area, we have your number, and she is right now safe and sound. Is she eating and everything?
Oh yeah. She's been eating and she's been drinking water, and she's been. She was definitely pretty scared at first, but she's pretty chill there now.
Oh, good.
She's relaxing.
Good to hear. Well, Chris, we hope that she gets reunited with her owner real soon. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
There you go. Female beagle, Middle Gull Pond, Brigus Junction area. If she's yours, if you're missing your dog, you can give us a call here at VOCM Open Line. Dave Williams has Chris's number. We're going to go now to Gary. You're on the air. Hello, Gary.
Hi, Linda.
How are you?
I do good, but I heard some sad news this week, and I didn't get a chance to phone in earlier to talk to Patty. But I'm glad you're on today because you're a female. And Colleen Jones, oh, what a loss! We lost an icon. Colleen Jones, the curler from Nova Scotia.
Absolutely. What a life force.
Oh man, there are two females from that province that are icons, that Anne Murray and Colleen Jones.
Yeah, for sure. She certainly wore her Nova Scotia pride on her sleeve for sure, literally, quite literally. Yeah. She was, it's a huge loss for not only Nova Scotia but the entire country.
Exactly, yeah, because we used to watch her curl, and I'm a sports fan too, and I love curling, so I watched her, and the excitement and the thrills of her winning all the stuff every time she won for Canada. She did Canada proud. She did Nova Scotia proud. And all females too, because she's actually the beginner of females in broadcasting in Canada, I think.
She was among them. She certainly, what I always found interesting about Colleen Jones was, she exuded this warmth and this personality, and a lot of the stories she did, not all of them, she did some pretty serious stories, but a lot of her stories focused on sort of human interest kind of things that really told a a compelling story about what other human beings are going through, and so she exuded that kind of warmth and sometimes very quite bubbly. But when she was curling, she could be intense.
Yeah, she was like she was Colleen Jones at the best. To me, I don't know how to explain her. She had a wonderful personality that she can make you laugh. She could probably make you cry. She was such a wonderful person. We lost such a wonderful person when she passed away. But you know what? She's with God now, so she's in a good place.
Well, yes, and I'm sure a lot of people share your sentiments on that. A terrible loss, I know. And for those Olympic tryouts, that must have cast a real pall over the curling community.
Yeah, because I watched the sports. And I was watching some curling. And that's what I heard it. Oh man, I was in tears watching the curling because they had some curling on TSN this week. And I'm watching that. And they're all talking. And oh my Lord, I didn't know that until they told the story.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
But I want if any families of Colleen Jones are listening, my condolences to your family. She's a great loss to all of us, to the family and everybody in Canada.
Absolutely.
So
Gary, thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day. Bye now.
You too. Bye-bye. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we hope to speak with you. And we're back. Linda Swain in for Paddy Daly, who is off today. We're going to go now to Leonard. You're on the air. Hello, Leonard.
Good morning, Linda. Just bear with me. I'm dealing with a sinus cold, so my voice is a bit raspy this morning, so hopefully I can get my point across this morning.
No, you sound fine. You have a voice for radio.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I was working with VOCs. Anyway, long story short, we're in the Lawrence Pond subdivision in Upper Gullies. We've been minorly inconvenienced the summer. Basically, there's a major project going on Peacekeepers Way there, heading west. So basically, we use the off-ramp to avoid that area because we can't get into our subdivision. And just wondered if we can get an update on the work. They do actually work in the nighttime because I can see the lights that they use for when they're working in the nighttime. So through the rumor mill, that project was supposed to be completed by the end of October. So now we're at the end of November, and just wonder if we can get an update from the Department of Transportation.
How long have you been disrupted in that way?
I think it was basically this project started in July. Don't quote me, but it seems it was in the summer, so I'm going to say July, early July when the project started. Basically, if you're heading west on Peacekeepers Way, we have an off-ramp to go into our subdivision, okay? So we avoid Route 60 because from let's say, Upper Gullies to Seal Cove, the roads are deplorable there on Route 60. So we continue on Route 6, or to continue on Peacekeepers Way to avoid that Route 60. So it's only a minor inconvenience, but I'm just wondering what's going on with the project right now. What are they doing there? I see, when you're leaving the subdivision, you can leave to go on Peacekeepers Way. But I see big culverts and stuff there. So I'm just wondering what actually is going on there. What are they doing there? So, I mean...
yeah, that's a good point. So what is the work entailing? You say it's at the on-ramp or off-ramp. What are they doing?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. Basically, to my understanding, Peacekeepers Way was supposed to continue right on to Seal Cove, okay, which is completed, but it's just before there, between Seal Cove and Upper Gullies, in that general area, okay? So I don't know what they're doing there. It's a mystery to us here in the subdivision here. We don't know what they're doing. Like I said, I see big giant culverts there, You know what I mean? What are they? Are they diverting water? Or are they putting in another road? You know what I mean? We don't know. So you can't basically say if you're heading west on Peacekeepers Way. If you miss Legion Road, the off-ramp, you got to continue on then to Seal Cove and then backtrack if you live in Upper Gullies. So I don't really know. It's a mystery to us here in the subdivision. We talk amongst ourselves, but no one seems to have an answer what's going on there and what's taking so long. They're working in the nighttime. You don't see much work on the highways in the nighttime, but they are doing it here. So I guess they're behind schedule, and that's the reason for it. But I would just like some answers for what they're doing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's worthy of an update. We'll see if the town is able to shed any light on that for us.
Yeah, like I said, it's been ongoing since I'm thinking early summer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's still. You could hear the guys working there in the nighttime. Say if I'm out walking my dog, you could hear the excavators and the equipment going. So whatever they're doing, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? When I leave the subdivision, you can leave, like I said, and get on Peacekeepers Way if you're heading east. But we do not know. There's a big hole. Say if you happen to miss the off-ramp on Legion Road and you happen to be driving towards Seal Cove, that's the only way you can get back to Upper Gullies. There is a big giant hole, like a big crater, so I don't know if what that means. You know what I mean? There's definitely a major project, put it that way, Linda.
Yeah.
For it be taking so long, there's got to be something they're doing there. Like I said, I'm not into highways, so I don't know what they're doing. So I just wanted an update, just to let people know, because winter's soon approaching. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's any major snow in the forecast, but I'm just wondering if we could just get an update on any timelines that the project's going to be completed.
All right, I'm glad you raised it, and we'll see if we can't get that update for you. Really appreciate your call this morning, Leonard. Thank you very much, and I hope you're feeling better soon.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We are going... Oops, cut myself off. We're going to go now to Michael. You're on the air. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Linda. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just a quick traffic advisory. I was just coming southbound on Team Guju, and there near the overpass where it crosses over Kenmount, in the right-hand lane, there's some construction material. Looks like plywood or some sort of sheet material. It's a fair-sized pile of it. There is a truck stopped with it, but both the truck and the materials are light in color, so they could very easily be lost in the mist and the fog.
Oh, yeah, and I can see right now that the fog in the area is quite thick. I'm glad you raised that with us. So hopefully whoever lost it is able to recover that pretty quickly. But some debris and construction material, as you put it, with a truck there, wasted on the right-hand lane of Team Guju southbound just before or past the Kenmount Road overpass, you said?
It's between the two exits to Kenmount, so it's sort of like either on or very near the overpass as it crosses.
Gotcha. All right. So please be careful if you're traveling in that area and make sure everybody's safe. Really appreciate your call, Michael.
No problem.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So watch out for that if you're traveling the Team Guju in and around the overpass to Kenmount Road. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. Lots on the go. A few calls coming in a scattered kind of way. But if there's anything on your mind, you are welcome to give us a call. We have some lines open. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. We're going to go now to Sandra. You're on the air. Hello, Sandra.
Good morning, Ms. Swain. The reason I'm calling in, I just had a little discussion with Dave, who's a very nice person. I was concerned about a man who had called in a couple of callbacks ago about a beagle. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I'm calling is basically, I was on Patty's show one time before, basically about the same thing. A lot of people with good intentions in finding animals make a mistake of actually not taking the animal to the SPCA or maybe even a veterinarian clinic in close proximity to them to see if the dog is microchipped. When the dog doesn't display having a collar or any identification on a collar even, to find out if there is such a chip installed, which is easy for them to locate the actual owner. Now, the thing is that I know this man who seems to be an animal lover because he wouldn't have made the attempt to try to find the animal. But in making a mistake, sometimes when people are not thinking, they'll put a description of the animal over air, sometimes on Patty's show, or they'll reach out to other places giving a description and asking the person, if they own such a dog or was in such an area, call to let us know so we can return your animal to you safely. Now, that's fine and good, but the mistake of giving the description could lead anybody that is probably looking for a pet or even to gain an animal for breeding purposes, basically a scammer, to get in contact claiming it's their dog and that they were in the area or a friend was in the area with such animal.
Does that sort of thing happen very often?
Well, yes, with dogs that are basically bred for hunting, especially young dogs, some people that own them are not very good in training them or expect because of the breed the dog knows naturally what to do. But dogs that are bird dogs and such, they tend to have very active noses sniffing around the wooded areas and stuff and come up on unusual scents that sometimes lead them away from the owners and sometimes tend not to come back when they're called and get lost within the woods, which enables somebody else to find them, pick them up, and sometimes do the wrong thing by giving descriptions over, and anybody can come and claim them, saying it was theirs. Now, I thought about this mistake that this man made, so he's kind of left the opportunity open for anyone, because those dogs are very expensive, purebred dogs, especially nowadays. And there's a lot of people looking for purebred dogs and hoping to gain one very cheaply. And the opportunity of, too much information given opens up for the dog to end up in a circumstance that I don't think anybody would really like to see the dog in. So anyways, I thought I would call in and I would mention that this gentleman, now in giving out the description of the dog.
Well, the description was a beagle, basically, and
yes.
All beagles look alike.
No, they don't. Their markings are placed in different areas, some of them. There's not two beagles alike, not even probably 4 or 5 alike. I've been an owner of a beagle myself. But the thing is that most breeders suggest that when you get your puppy and you have them spayed and neutered, to have them microchipped, especially if you have the intentions of using them for hunting and such. But as you know, there are people that don't really want to go through the means of doing that, whether it be the cost or they feel that they want to leave the dog in the natural state in case they would want to breed the dog to make money. But not everybody is allowed to breed dogs, too. There's usually a system that they have to go through in order to become a breeder. Unless, you've heard of puppy mills and such. Those are a little bit unsavory people that would probably attempt to try to pick up a dog from anyone that's not so clear on how to basically put out there that they have a lost dog, or actually know the method of what they should actually do in trying to locate the means of where the dog actually came from. So I kind of phoned to suggest to this man and to anybody out there who's listening that has intentions of obtaining a hunting dog of any breed, to have your dog spayed and neutered if the intent isn't there to breed, or to have the dog, while it's going through that process, to be microchipped. Because like whoever the owner could be of this unfortunate dog, whether it be a family pet or was being used at the time for hunting purposes and basically trying to train the dog and probably lost it unintentionally, it is a good idea to have such breeds microchipped for in the future, because I know myself in owning dogs that there's a strong attachment that you start to form with your pet from a puppy on, and it becomes a member of your family. And to lose your pet is almost just as close as losing somebody in your family. So I was kind of worried, and I thought that I should phone in. And basically, anyone that doesn't recognize the method of when they find a lost animal and is unsure what to do, not really a great idea to give a full description and markings, because this man right now, anybody could come to him and, like I said, and say it's their animal or they know who owns it. But the only thing that I can advise to him is to take it to the SPCA or the nearest veterinarian clinic and have the dog scanned to see if it's indeed microchipped. And the next thing that he can do is not show the dog to whoever comes, but ask whoever feels that they may be the owner to come and present a picture of the dog so he can compare it himself to as if the dog is actually the person who is claiming to be the owner.
Right on. Yeah.
But the first suggestion is to take it to the SPCA.
Okay.
Because they're pretty good with finding out who the owners are if the animal is microchipped, and same with the veterinarian clinic.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sandra. I really appreciate that.
And you have a very nice day, Miss Swain, and thank you for listening to me.
You too. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going now to the MHA for Corner Brook, Mr. Jim Parsons. Hello, Jim.
How you doing, Linda?
Good. How are you?
Oh, excellent. I'm actually up here at Lonely Down Ski Trails right now. There's the parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister is in town to announce the COA money. So we're having a round table with some tourism operators. It's a nice, warm fireplace in front of me. It's great.
Oh, lovely. It sounds cozy.
Yep.
How are you getting adjusted to your new role?
Getting there. There's a lot of logistical things, of course. We got I got my CA. We got our phones. We got our emails. We're dealing with our constituency issues. There's a lot of change with the changing government. So a lot of offices moving, a lot of people moving and changing. So it's still in transition mode a little bit, but no, I'm used to dealing with the public. Being mayor here for 8 years, so it's a new challenge for me, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because that you're there with the parliamentary secretary. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced this week, or he made some reference to opportunities to restructure in a positive way, as he put it, the forest product sector. And I know Corner Brook Pulp and Paper had put forward this $700 million plan to revitalize the Corner Brook Pulp and Paper plant there in Corner Brook. And I was wondering, does that all tie in together? What's What's going on there?
Well, I think that I think it's important to know that our forestry sector is very integrated. Our sawmills and our mill, of course, are our partners, and our logs go to be sawed. They get sorted. Then the waste product comes back to the mill as well. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's very we try to get the most out of every bit of fiber we have here in the province, of course. And this opportunity that Kruger is proposing right now is taps in another sector, energy, tying into with Newfoundland Hydro into the grid to bring renewable energy, wind energy, and back that up with the hydropower that they have. This is a very exciting opportunity. It could be a lot of stability for not just the mill itself, but also for the sawmills in our province.
So do Mr. Carney's comments suggest that the federal government may be playing a role here as well?
Well, that of course would be helpful. We've had really good big benefits, I guess, from involvement with the federal government on this in the past. Our port in Corner Brook, of course, took advantage of federal funding to establish our container service, which again supports and really helped support our mill during COVID, especially as we transition from an American market to other markets like India. And so it's been really important, I guess, to have that infrastructure, and it spurs more business. So it's really great to hear Prime Minister talk about that. I really hope that our province will continue to cooperate with the mill and with our sawmills. And this new project that Kruger's proposing, I think, could be a benefit to the province as a whole, not just those stakeholders.
So you mentioned renewable energy, and I guess and alternate forms of energy, and I guess it's being illustrated right now, the fact that production had to be halted because of low water levels. Where are we with that now?
Yeah, it is a problem. I mean, climate change is a real thing. We've, at a municipal level, I know that we've noticed it significantly with severe weather events, runoff, lack of rain sometimes in this case. So it's important that we're diverse in how we manage our electricity, especially, and our increased demand for it. The proposal, I think, that's on the table there now is adding another, I think, over 100 megawatts of firm power to our grid with wind energy backed up by hydro. So, that is, I think, a very sensible way to get into the wind game. There have been a number of projects proposed, green hydrogen, data centers, things like that. But this is Kruger is a company that actually does manage wind farms already. So it's a real opportunity. I think it's a great way to get in the game.
I didn't realize they already managed wind farms. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So this is why I think it's important to go with established companies that do this. And this is a real opportunity. It's not speculative. So I think it's something that we need to continue work on. I hope that the new government will continue to work with Kruger on this, and hydro, of course. Our province needs energy, and this is a great way to do it.
So have you had an opportunity to speak with the Premier and see where, his mind may be on that?
I haven't yet. It's the transition period has been very busy for the new government, I'm sure. But I do look forward to talking with him about this. I have met a number of the ministers already, and I'm looking forward to, again, hopefully promoting this work, continuing the work that's been done, and let's not drop the ball of this. Let's get this to the finish line. And
what's this event you're participating in now?
Yeah, we have a number of stakeholders here. There was a really good announcement, ACOA funding for things including the geopark here in the Bay of Islands, trail development, the Western Snow Riders, big new link between Corner Brook and Marble, Steady Brook, for ATVs and snowmobiles, as well as mountain biking. So it's we have a lot of stakeholders here up at the lodge, and we're having a chat. And MP Voice is learning about the needs here in this region. And of course, it's important that we have an ear to government. We have an opposition MP in our region now, Carol Anstey. So it's great to have a member of government here to talk to and tell us, to learn about what's going on.
Jim Parsons, thanks so much for the update on this. And anything that comes up, be sure to give us a call. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Listen, thanks for reaching out. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That's the MHA for Corner Brook, former Mayor Jim Parsons. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we are going now to Sandy. You're on the air. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm froze to death, Linda. Froze to death over here today.
I find once that dampness gets in your bones, that's it.
Yeah, well, I'm praying for a bit of snow right now.
There you go.
Yeah. Listen, I'm calling in. Good morning to all your listeners, by the way. It's Sandy here at the Vera Plain Charitable Foundation. We are kicking off our last fundraiser for the year, Linda. We got a dandy prize on the go. We got an Aaron's snowblower, top of the line, 24 Deluxe. She can't cut through the fog, but she certainly can cut through the snow. Uh-huh. We got a few beer to go with it. We got a Mark's gift card. We got some Milwaukee cordless tools, and we got a gas card. Linda, tickets are only $10 each.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's fantastic, it's right, and all the proceeds go right back into the programs and services that we offer here to families and to those who are living with intellectual disabilities. And as you know, this time of year can be very stressful on families, especially to those who are living with intellectual disabilities, Linda. So the proceeds help with, service and programs, food hampers, gift cards, housing assistance, and medications and devices and transportation, and so much more. So we're hoping probably even yourself, all the hands over there at VOCM, and all the listeners will give us a call this morning or go into VeraPlainSociety.ca, get all the information, and give us a call and get your ticket for only $10.
Fantastic. And when is the draw?
The draw is next Friday, but the most important thing is you got to call between now and Monday, because that is when the ticket sales end, Linda. So we got to get those tickets in. We got to help the fine folks here in our community, and we got to give away that snowblower.
Right on. And it'll come in handy to somebody, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure, because you remember now, only a few years ago we had Snowmageddon.
That's right. And it just feels like, I don't know about you, but it feels like this is going to be one of those winters.
Yeah, I can feel it in the bones, because, when you hit 40, it gets a little achy, right?
Well, Sandra, appreciate your call this morning. All the best with it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Listen, and Merry Christmas to everyone, and please give us a call, and the proceeds, again, support the Vera Plain Society.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We are going to go now to Margaret. You're on the air. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Linda. How are you this morning?
Good. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, but my foot is not good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I had a surgery 2 weeks ago, and I don't like using these crutches.
Yeah, it really slows you down, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, really.
Mm.
But anyway, the reason I'm calling, not because of me, knock to the door. Here. Sorry about everyone listening to my dog. Anyway, the reason why I'm calling is because with that little dog that was lost.
Yeah.
Before that dog is released, I think it should be IDs, showing them IDs, address, driver's license, blah, 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 before they release that dog.
Well, what the previous caller suggested, and I agree with it, by the way, is, show some proof that the dog is yours. Just, most people take pictures of their animals, so just say, here he is, and then they'll be able to say, oh, yeah, that's him, okay, see you later.
Yeah, but when I heard that, I thought, oh, my God, he should not release any information. Mm-hmm. Like the dog, the color, a color, but have something there that the owner would pick out.
Yeah.
you know, if it's their dog. So if you come to take that dog, and you have a collar to pick out, and you can't say yes, it's mine or whatever, they have to know the color.
Yeah, but how do you do that? You know, like you pick up a stray dog and you say, I found a dog. It's not just good enough to say I found a dog, because people wouldn't know it's their dog. So what do you say? You can say, I found a brown dog, and then somebody say, well, I have a brown dog, and then they can say, well, I've got a chocolate lab, or I've got some kind of a hunting type dog. Yes,
but there should be some kind of a marking that they can distinct, you know?
Yeah. He's got a white tip tail or something, yeah.
Of course, you heard her barking there. Mm-hmm. It's a little Pom. Now, she's got a marking on her that I don't think any other dog has got.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, something that...
Yeah. So now, if I lost that dog, and I come to you and say, yes, it's my dog, or...
Well, I don't think if she gets lost, she'll go quietly.
Oh, my God. Well, no one never will be able to take mine. I never knew that Poms were so yappy.
They're very tenacious.
Yes, but anyway... Thank you for taking my call, and you have a great Christmas.
All right, same to you. Thanks so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, good point there, and we appreciate that call. We're going to go now to Leslie. Bridges to Hope. Hello.
Hey, Linda. How's it going?
Good.
So I won't take up too much of your time. I'm just calling in to let folks know about a donation drive we've got on the go today. We are over at Coleman's in Mount Pearl until 4 p.m., and we are collecting food items and funds in support of our Miracle on Cookstown Road campaign for our food bank.
So tell us more about it.
So the Miracle on Cookstown Road campaign, this is our big annual Christmas fundraising campaign. Our food bank at this point is regularly serving about 1,500 people every month in the St. John's metro region. Our services are available to any person experiencing food insecurity. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in. It doesn't matter what church you attend, and it doesn't matter who's in your family. So I'm sure you've heard, we've been experiencing extremely increased demand over the last couple of years. We just wrapped applications for our Christmas assistance program last Friday, and we actually saw nearly 1,900 people requesting support for the holidays.
How does that compare to previous years?
That is it's a massive increase from previous years. So just to put it in perspective, we saw almost 1,900 applications this year compared to last year when we supported just under 1,100 people. So yeah, wow. It's a very significant increase.
Wow, yeah. Leslie, we're up to news time. Can I ask you to hold through the news and we'll get back to you about the fundraiser itself?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
All right. I'll put you back on hold, and we will get back to you right after the news with Sarah Strickland.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And we're back on VOCM Open Line. Linda Swain sitting in for Patty Daly, who is off today. And before the news, we were speaking with Leslie with Bridges to Hope about their Miracle on Cookstown Road fundraiser. And Leslie was telling us that demand has gone up. 1,900 people put in requests for assistance this past month. That's more than 1,100 from last year. Last year there was 1,100. So do you attribute this, increased demand?
Well, Linda, we hear from folks all the time that, they are struggling with the cost of living. Housing costs are one of the main factors that folks who visit our food bank point to as the reason that is causing them to use the food bank. And especially this time of year, when the heat comes on and those bills start to increase, we do tend to see that increase in demand. So the Miracle on Cookstown Road campaign, it supports our food bank not just throughout the holiday season, but really throughout the whole year to come. Bridges to Hope is almost entirely powered by the community. We don't receive government funding to support our food bank efforts. So we really rely on the Christmas fundraising season to make our work possible.
And do people typically respond in positive ways?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen some just incredible support from the community over the years, whether folks are sharing funds, food, or time. It all helps us achieve our mission. So we're hoping that we'll have a similar turnout this year, and we'll just see how it goes.
So how do people get involved?
So today we are on site at Coleman's in Mount Pearl until 4 p.m. And we are collecting food and funds in support of the campaign. A couple of our volunteers are on site there. They have lists of our most needed items. But if you don't want to brave this yucky weather we're having, you could always pop online and make a donation at bridgestohope.ca/miracle.
Leslie, thanks so much, and thanks for the work you do. Really appreciate this.
Thanks for the time, Linda.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Michael Pretty. You're on the air. Hello, Michael.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Fine. Just busy. I guess everybody is. I was listening to the last caller, and we actually run a food pantry in Portugal Coast, St. Philip's. And, yeah, demand is up. People are in need. So anybody that can spare anything, please support that great organization.
Fantastic. What brings you to us this morning?
Portugal Coast St. Philip's has got a very vibrant arts community, and we are having an arts festival this Saturday at the old RC Church Hall at 5 RC Church Drive in Portugal Cove. And it runs from 7 to 10 p.m. We've got some local musicians, Rick Lamb and the Relics, an older group called the Hunky Dories. They're awesome, and concert violinist Nancy Case Oates. And people are invited to come in, and we have got 16 different vendors as well. The first 60 people get a free gourmet cookie. There will be tea and coffee and stuff for free. There's a door prize. Of course, you got to have 50-50. We've got visual artists. We've got sculptors. We've got hand-spun Angora wool. We've got a potter, a couple of florists. We've got knitters. We have another potter, homemade notebooks and journals, handcrafted woodworking, glass artists, and we've got Rodney's Poutine or Rodney's Taters, and you can get a nice little poutine. And anybody who shops at a local restaurant between now and Saturday will get an extra door prize. So that's Landings or the Azul or the Grounds or by the beach in St. Philip's. If you bring in your receipt for that, you'll get a second door prize.
So the Arts Festival, once again, is when?
Saturday, the 29th, from 7 to 10 p.m. And there's a lot of parking. We've got like over 100 parking spaces out there. You don't see it from the road, but there's lots of parking there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Michael, all the best to you on that. And by the way, Hunky Dories has got to be one of the best names I think I've ever heard.
I know, yeah. And if people want to bring a donation to the food pantry, like a canned good, we'd gladly accept that.
Fantastic. Michael, thank you.
All right. Thanks for having my call.
Okay. Bye-bye. Yep, 'tis the season for a lot of these fantastic things. Do people do Christmas pageants anymore, I wonder? That used to be a really great Newfoundland tradition in, outports and all over the place, Christmas pageants. And I know my mom used to talk fondly about the Christmas pageants that she participated in as a child, and I often wonder about that. Does it still occur? Anyway, if you have a Christmas pageant, give us a call. Let us know. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. Now is your chance, by the way, to give us a call. We have some lines open as we get into the last hour of the program. Here are the numbers. And we are back. And you may recall, by the way, we have some lines open, so now is your opportunity to call us. You may recall that earlier in the show, we heard from a gentleman in the Lawrence Pond subdivision of Upper Gullies wondering what the work was... looking for an update, I should say, on the work at Peacekeepers Way. And we reached out to the mayor, and he says it's a provincial government project, so it's best to check with them. But from his understanding anyway, is that the last update the town got was last week, indicating that weather has created some delays there. The full job is set to finish next year, but as for the diversion, it is weather dependent according to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. Darren Bent says they expect another update late next week, but he recommends that a full update be sought out from the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. So the minister is the MHA for the general area, Mr. Barry Petton. So if he happens to be listening, he's welcome to give us an update on that particular project affecting the Lawrence Pond subdivision in Upper Gullies. And anything else, by the way, that you want to speak about, you're certainly welcome to do so. We've been taking lost items and lost animals for a long time. Like, oftentimes we'll caution people about if they found a wallet, for instance, you don't say how much is in the wallet or what the wallet looks like or what other identifying things might be in a wallet. Many people just pass it straight on to the RNC and the like. So oftentimes we won't give those kinds of descriptions, but it never occurred to me not to give a description of a dog. And we've had a few comments about that. So, I mean, you get a lost pet, and a lot of people want to make sure that an animal is reunited with its rightful owner. But how do you say that? A lost dog in the such and such area. So how do you identify the fact that it might be your dog? Because there might be a dozen lost dogs in that area, if you know what I mean. So people are saying, keep some descriptor or whatever to yourself. Don't say, that the dog happens to have one blue eye, one brown eye, or don't say that it has one white paw, or whatever the case may be. Just keep it kind of generic. Maybe a medium-sized dog or a small dog or whatever. In the case of beagles, they, by and large, have the same type of markings, white, brown, and black, but how those markings show on the animal are different in different cases. So they're suggesting that you keep some of that back. Ask for a photograph. If somebody has lost an animal and they're coming to pick it up, say, show me a picture of your dog and I'll let you know if that's him. Or they suggest that if you do pick up a lost animal, bring it to your local SPCA or a vet clinic, and they can check and see if it's microchipped, and that should have information on the owner contained therein. I'm not sure how that works for animals that might be microchipped and then their owner passes away and they end up at the SPCA, and is there a way to update microchips? I don't know, on an animal that's embedded in an animal's skin. Anyway, if somebody happens to know anything about that aspect of things, they're certainly welcome to give us a call. And this rain we're having appears to be having some impact on water levels for many areas that had suffered greatly over the past summer, and it was really quite alarming how dry it was here in Newfoundland and Labrador over the summer. I don't think I've ever encountered a summer like that here in my life, where you can literally see everything dying in front of you, and how quickly that can happen. Luckily, we're back to a little bit more of a common weather pattern for ourselves. We had that big blocking high that was preventing any moisture from coming up from the tropics and along the U.S. eastern seaboard, and it was just veering off into the Atlantic. Now that has dissipated, and all of that stuff is coming straight up our way. But it's been a quiet year for hurricanes for us. We haven't seen the effects of any hurricanes this year. Thank goodness, says an awful lot of people, because we've seen the devastating effects of that in this province, and many people still trying to get over some of the major storms that we've had in the last decade or more. But all the weather patterns have been slightly off, if you know what I'm saying. I'm a bit of a nerd. I often say this in the newsroom that, I'm looking at the satellite images all the time and watching the animations of the satellite images, and just watching for a long time now how things have changed rather dramatically over the last number of years, and this past year in particular, how storms were forming, where they were moving, who ended up seeing the brunt of it. In many cases, it was Western Europe. Weather in places like watching Saudi Arabia, and how they're getting a fair bit of rain lately. It's all very unusual and strange. We are going to go now to, am I okay with this, Dave? Daryl? Yep, we're good. Hello, Daryl.
Hi, Linda. How are you today?
Oh, good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you very much. What I'm going to talk about today is 24-hour snow clearing. And there recently, when the government made announcements to what they designate areas for 24-hour snow clearing, and what puzzles me, that one area they designated Terranova Park for 24-hour snow clearing, but as you leave the park either west or east, there's no 24-hour snow clearing. Like, we'll take the west part of it as you come out of the park, like from Eastport right on into Gander, which Gander covers all that area, like for people who got to probably, say, try to get to work or so forth. But the main thing what they got to look at is the hospital here in Gander, because anyone from Eastport on or whatever, they got to come to the hospital for medical appointments for. So for that reason, I think should be 24-hour snow clearing from from Eastport coming on in due to medical appointments, or for responders, or whatever the case may be, due to the hospitals here in Gander.
Is it the province that maintains the roads through Terranova National Park?
Well, now that's a good question, because I know the Terranova Park is federal. So I'm not sure. I think I stand to be corrected. I think there might be agreement that maybe they do it, but maybe there's some kind of subsidized being from the federal government. Now I stand to be corrected on that one. That one is worth looking into, as we speak here. But that's how I'm looking at it. And then as you go east, like Carnville, Bonavista, because I know people have come from Marystown, had to come into Gander for medical appointments. So, and Bonavista, Carnville, all that area as well. So, forward where the hospital is here in Gander, I think for those reasons alone, that should be 24-hour snow clearing.
Yes, and I've lost count of the devastating accidents that have occurred between Gambo and Gander over the years, particularly in and around the Square Pond area.
Well, yeah. So when you leave the park, there's no 24 from like the West Park come like right to Gander. So Gambo, New West Valley, all those areas. I mean, that Gander takes in all that area. I mean, for people just trying to get to work. But I mean, for medical appointments or emergencies, and so for the reason that alone, where we got the hospital here for medical appointments or emergency, whatever, I think that should be all 24-hour snow clearing right to probably almost Marystown, because I know people come in from that area as well. They're all coming to Gander. Depends on what doctors they got to see or so forth. So I think they should really take a good take a good, really hard look at all that in general. Like, you know, I know they got to find staff, and they got to try to, you know, what they're trying to accomplish. And I know things can't be like done overnight as well. But when you got a place where a main hospital taking in, like Gander takes in a area of 93,000 people, stand to be corrected. But I mean, but like I said, they come from Claremont, Bonavista, so forth as well. So, like I said, as far as Marystown, so I think, you know, they should revisit it, like what they're designating 24 hours. Yes, it'd be nice if the whole province really, you know, but you got to have the staff. But I think this got to be really taken into serious consideration, especially for medical reasons. That alone is of importance, plus other avenues as well.
Well, indeed, and there's going to be some challenges, of course, getting the personnel to do that. I know that that's been an issue for quite some time, but you're raising an excellent point. One would think that any area within, you know, a reasonable catchment surrounding a hospital should be, you know, one of the priorities.
Yeah, and like I said, I know they come from far as like east as Marystown coming in, depending on what doctors they got to see or so forth. So I mean, this is, you know, of the essence, and not like for emergency responders. Especially the hospital. So if you got 24-hour snow clearing, and it's not done like from like Carnival on or after, depends on what entry coming west from Eastport on, and you got a medical emergency or whatever, and 24-hour snow clearing, and say what happens if you had a snowstorm and you can't move because of it, you can't get to the hospital. So I think that's something that's really, like, I thought about it when I heard this there recently, and it been on my mind and said, no, that's not adding up, especially when you got a main hospital like here in Gander, which takes in the big area, as I stated. So I think they better take another good hard look at this, because we want to be proactive rather than be reactive. We don't want to have a situation in the winter that something serious happens, and because of the weather, that you can't get to the James Paint Memorial Hospital. So that would be very sad. Now, on the going west of Gander, they got 24-hour snow clearing, like from Grand Falls right to Gander. They got it that way, but eastbound they don't. So I think this is going to be, so they do have that. So this got to be taken very serious, because we don't want to hear a story that something seriously happened to someone because of the weather and the roads weren't clear and they couldn't get to the hospital.
All right, Daryl, we'll have to leave it there. We're up to news time. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, well, thank you, Linda. And maybe you get the Minister of Transportation to address that question to you and see what he got to say.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for your time, and all the best to you and your listening audience and staff at the OCM. Have a great finish to your day.
Thank you.
Righto.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
Thank you, Sarah. And we're back on VOCM Open Line into the final half hour of the show this morning. And this is Research Week at Memorial University. And what Memorial has been doing is highlighting some of the important work some of its researchers have been doing in a variety of fields. Well, Dr. Sherry Christian is presenting the Atlantic Cancer Consortium Patient Advisory Committee Free Public Talk this Friday. She is a professor in the Faculty of Science at Memorial University and a co-lead of the Atlantic Cancer Consortium, part of the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network. And she joins us now on the line. Hello, Dr. Christian.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about this free public talk you're going to be presenting on Friday.
Well, as you said, it's put on by the Patient Advisory Committee, which is part of the Atlantic Cancer Consortium. And it's really just to share what we've been doing at the ACC and the future of the project, and bringing the research, trying to bring it to the people in an understandable way.
Absolutely, because, when you're in the weeds, and that's what you do, it's a little hard sometimes to give an overview that everyone's going to be able to consume and understand. So what kind of work have you been working on there?
So the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network is actually a national network. I like to think of it as a Team Canada of cancer research. So all across the country, we have cancer researchers, clinicians, patient advocate, and donors involved in moving cancer research forward. And what we're really focused on is something called precision oncology. So this means that if a cancer has a very specific mutation, we can target that mutation with a drug. So instead of just general chemotherapy, we can actually go in with that really targeted drug, reduce the amount of side effects the patient might have, and really focus on that cancer. One of the things that I think people might not appreciate is how cancer is actually hundreds of different diseases. So breast cancer, you might realize, is different from prostate cancer, but even within breast cancer, there's a whole bunch of different mutations that a cancer can have that may or may not be susceptible to the drugs that we can give. So what the Marathon of Hope is doing is getting samples from tumors where we can actually look at the genetics and understand what is causing that cancer.
It's fascinating, and to see how greatly cancer research in particular has evolved, even over the last couple of decades, is extraordinary. How important is it, for these new and emerging technologies to address some of that?
I think it's vitally important. I mean, that the needle has moved, as you said, over the past couple of decades. But we still have 2 out of 5 people dying from cancer in Canada. And not only that, a lot of the treatments are quite hard. You see people lose their hair, they have nausea, they have side effects like neuropathy in their fingers. So if we could reduce that by giving the right drug, and only the right drug, quality of life for those patients would be much better. And of course, we would target that cancer much better. And hopefully, change. The idea is that we can change cancer from being something that you die from to something that you just live with, because we know the right treatments.
I don't know how versed you are on this, but I've been seeing some articles of late talking about vaccines and the like for cancer. Is that something that, is feasible in, like you say, there's so many forms of cancer, and I know it's helping with things like HPV, which can lead to cervical cancer and other types of cancers. But is that an area of exploration?
It's not for us, but certainly the data that we would collect could actually inform a cancer vaccine. So especially if in a personalized way. So some of the newest vaccines are taking advantage of mRNA technology to actually be able to have the person express or show a protein that's different in the cancer compared to the rest of the body. So if the immune system can recognize that that cancer cell is different, it will actually kill it. But to know what's different from the cancer cell to your normal cell, we really need the genetics, the underpinning of what makes that cancer different.
How has we know how cancer research is always evolving, but how is cancer itself evolving, if at all? Are you seeing any changes or differences or trends that are different from where they were before?
Actually, in the recent years, we've seen some concerning trends where cancer is arising in younger and younger people. So, for example, colorectal cancer, which generally you wouldn't see, until 60s, 70s kind of thing, we're seeing in people in their 40s and 50s. And those are probably environmental causes. So that's the downside. Of course, the upside is, for example, you mentioned cervical cancer. In Australia, they found that in 2021, 0 cases of cervical cancer in women under 25 because of the vaccine. So I think we have, changes in both directions in the past few years.
And again, the cause is changing all the time. Like you say, some cancers are caused by environmental exposures, some are caused by genetics, some are caused by viruses and the like. So it's got to be a pretty dynamic field. What drew you to it?
Oh, that's a hard question because I've been in cancer research for, 20 years now. I think it's just seeing so many people affected by this disease, and it's so complicated. We need a lot of different people working on it from different angles to really be able to understand the biology underlying the cancer, underlying the cause of the cancer, underlying the progression of the cancer. And so just, to be able to help as many people as possible really is why I got into it.
So when is your free talk?
It is a webinar, so anybody can attend at 12:30 Newfoundland time tomorrow. And if you want information, you have to register for it, though. So if you're on Facebook, you can just search Atlantic Cancer Consortium, and there's the link there. If you're not on Facebook, you can email the Patient Advisory Committee Coordinator at accpac@mun.ca, so accpac@mun.ca, and you can get the registration link that way.
Dr. Sherry Christian, thank you for the work that you do. Really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. That is Dr. Sherry Christian, co-lead of the Atlantic Cancer Consortium. It's part of the Marathon of Hope Cancer Center Network. We are going to go now to, Dave, the caller on line 4. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, first-time caller, Linda. My name is Janice. I'm just calling about an issue that I encountered today when trying to park at the Health Sciences.
Okay, Janice, tell us about it.
Very, very frustrating experience. I went for an appointment with plenty of time. Mm-hmm. I would normally perhaps have gotten dropped off, but today I thought maybe with the new hub opened that there would be better parking. So I went about 20 minutes early and entered into the lot and drove around for greater than 20 minutes, actually missed my appointment. And then to add insult to injury, had to pay to leave the lot. It's very very frustrating, as I was saying, because no attendant there to indicate that the lot was full. And maybe to try another lot, for example. So I just wanted to put it out there that parking at the Health Sciences has not improved as was hoped.
I've been there before myself. It's really extraordinary. If you have an appointment at certain times of the day, and it seems like that 9 to 11:30 window is the worst, you might be a very long time trying to find somewhere to park, and they've been making all kinds of changes and doing what they can to alleviate that situation, and it seems to be no better.
For sure. There was at least, I certainly am not exaggerating to say there was 30 cars there looking for an appointment, and I had to call in to say I just had no way to get there. Now for me, it was not a life-threatening appointment that I had to go to, and it was something I could reschedule, thankfully. But I did feel for other folks who were, experiencing the same thing, and I just thought I would put it out there as an issue that certainly needs to be addressed. And if folks thought that the opening of the new hub was going to relieve some of the parking there, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, a terrible inconvenience to you. People have to take time out of their jobs or their busy days to attend these appointments, which, fair enough. But when you go through this entire process and still have to rebook, that's, like you say, very frustrating.
Very frustrating, for sure.
And how many more people are like yourself?
Exactly. And as I said, perhaps with a more urgent need to get into their appointment.
Yeah, exactly. Where you might have the stress and strain of, some uncertainty hanging over you. Caller, I really appreciate your time. I'd like to hear what others have to say about that.
Sure, I would too.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I've been there. I've missed appointments myself at the health sciences for the same reason. You know what you're going to face. You go there early, and you're still driving around. You and many, many others driving around and chasing people down. I'm sure anybody who's walked across the parking lot at the health sciences knows that feeling of being followed by a car. Not for nefarious reasons, but to see where you're going and if you're getting in a vehicle to leave so they can get in your spot. So anyway, we thank her for her call on that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. We're back on VOCM Open Line, and we were going to go to Julie, who had a bouquet to share, but she has left us. So we're going to go now to the critic for Labrador Affairs, Lisa Dempster. Hello.
Hi, good morning, Linda.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, actually. I know I'm at the tail end of your call. I just want to talk about a couple of things in the mining sector that we know is experiencing significant growth, diversification. I don't think it always gets the attention that it needs. I want to talk about IOC for a couple of minutes, but Linda, I would be remiss if I didn't mention I started my week Monday morning meeting with the executive of Sega Metals in the northern part of my district in Cartwright. There's been really a phenomenal find there of mineralized titanium vanadium. I'm going to use VTM. And, this little project that's getting off the ground in Cartwright it certainly has the strong potential to evolve into a globally significant project. And for your listeners that might be saying, what is VTM? What's titanium? It's minerals essential to aerospace, defense, advanced batteries, steel making. And what's really key here is right now today, those deposits are largely concentrated in Russia and China, creating supply vulnerabilities for North America. So we're keeping an eye on that. They're progressing. They're doing some great work with exploration. They're creating local job opportunities in the community. And, we've got Sega Metals on our radar. But I want to talk about IOC just because I've had so many people reach out to me. Some people felt that some recent job losses, I think around 25 in total terminated to date, that maybe, this it's being masked as restructuring, but maybe some Labradorians and folks from the island are losing jobs. They're bringing in expats, etc. Myself, my colleague Fred Hutton, and Bernie Davis, who is the critic for Labour, Fred for Mines and Energy, we met yesterday with a team from the executive of IOC. We had phenomenal discussion. They're a leader in steel around the world, and they are going through a period of restructuring, but a few takeaways that I think will give some confidence to the people in the area. They touted the strong local workforce, very committed to no fly in, fly out. What they're doing is, Linda, in terms of the health of a mine, the more they mine, the more they find. They've had 70 great years there, lots of challenges, but triumphing over them, creating good employment, giving people, good livings there. Right now, they're looking at getting rid of some of the waste. I believe they've got about 100 million tons of waste. So that's a part of the reason for restructuring. Do you continue mining and getting more waste accumulated? Do you deal with the waste? And so that means sometimes, and they've also separated the mining plan going forward with the mining operation, and that sometimes means bringing in specialized people. Our conversation was very much about the holistic view of the role that IOC plays in Labrador West, labor market information, how we can support, keeping a finger on the pulse of those things as new positions come up. How do we ensure that our people are trained for those jobs as the whole mining sector there evolves, etc.?
So is there value in that 100 million tons of waste? Because I've seen some interesting projects being looked at right now to draw certain minerals from mining waste.
Those are some of the things that they're looking at. And then one of the questions I had was, if you have 100 million tons of waste, where do you move that? So they move it into areas that's already been mined, but those are things that the executive is looking at. But clearly, I believe that they have a solid plan. I don't think anyone has. It's a strong company. And I certainly heard the commitment to continue to build strong relations with the company, investing in housing partnerships, et cetera, where they can, to ensure that the work continues in that community, and not the fly in, fly out, which is always a fear for people when we hear of changes on the radar.
So do mining activities continue while they're dealing with this 100 million tons of waste?
Yes, absolutely. They assured us of that for sure. And I want to also mention, Linda, last week myself and my colleague Fred Hutton had a chance to sit down and have coffee with Mining NL, Amanda McCullum. They're doing great work. And one of the biggest messages coming out of that was, how underexplored we are, in particular in Labrador, but also around the power issue. And basically, no power, no project. So we're certainly keeping an eye as well. We know that Lab West is an area that continues to have tremendous untapped potential, but they need power. And so, we were moving in that direction with the MOU that is needed for jobs, for growth, economic spin-offs, the revenue to the Treasury provincially. It's how we provide services to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. You have to have that economic engine running well. And so all eyes right now are on the new Premier and the decisions that he's going to make, because if we lose a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here, Linda, it is going to have big, far-reaching impacts for people who right now earn good-paying jobs, in this case, in the mining sector.
Lisa Dempster, I do appreciate your call and this update this morning, because I do know that there are some frayed nerves in Labrador right now. And keep us on top of this Saga Metals situation. That sounds very interesting.
Absolutely, and I didn't even mention Search Minerals right in our backyard, in the heart of our district, critical minerals. They've had some ebbs and flows with some challenges, but now really back in a good place. Stock markets are trading, and that will also be a game changer, with about $2-3 billion in asset right there in the rock around St. Louis, Port Hope Simpson area. So yeah, lots to talk about, and I'll do my best to keep your listeners apprised, but lots to be hopeful about, as long as we get the decisions made right at the top that supports exploration, investments in geoscience, and of course, we need the power.
Of course. Lisa Dempster, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of the day. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Linda.
You too. Bye-bye. And Lisa Dempster has had the last word on VOCM Open Line. Thanks for your contributions, everyone. We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland.